He was trying to win a boxing match. I was trying to kill that guy.
George Foreman, the man with thunder in his fists. The man who knocked out Joe Frazier 6 times in 2 rounds. The man who became world champion not once, but twice in 2 different eras. But rivalries, anger, and fighters that George Foreman truly hated facing inside the ring. Today, we uncover the truth, the top 6 boxers George Foreman hated the most.
Number 1. Muhammad Ali. If there was one name George Foreman could never erase from his heart, it was Muhammad Ali. The year was 1974, Zaire, Africa. The world expected Foreman to crush Ali like he crushed Joe Frazier and Ken Norton. George was the monster, Ali was the underdog. But Ali played a mental game. Before the fight, Ali mocked Foreman at press conferences, calling him slow, calling him a mummy. Ali turned the crowd against Foreman. Ali, Boumaye! Ali, kill him! They shouted all night. And inside the ring, Ali leaned on the ropes, took George's hardest punches, and whispered in his ear, "Is that all you got, George?" Foreman swung, round after round, until his arms felt like lead. In the 8th round, Ali struck with lightning-fast combination, and the giant was on the floor. For years, George admitted he carried hate toward Ali, not just for the loss, but for humiliating him in front of the whole world.
Number 2. Joe Frazier, the relentless warrior. George Foreman destroyed Joe Frazier in 1973, dropping him 6 times in 2 rounds. But that wasn't the whole story. Foreman himself said, "I hated fighting Joe. Even when I knocked him down, he kept coming back." Frazier had a left hook that could knock out anyone, and his pressure style gave Foreman nightmares. After their first fight, George admitted he was shocked at Frazier's courage. In the rematch in 1976, Foreman knocked Frazier out again, but once more, Joe never backed down, never showed fear. Foreman later said, "I didn't hate Joe the man, but I hated fighting him because you could knock him down and he'd rise up like a lion."
Number 3. Ken Norton, the awkward puzzle. Ken Norton was another rival who gave George Foreman trouble. Norton was known for breaking Muhammad Ali's jaw in 1973 and beating him once. When Foreman fought Norton in 1974, the fight ended in the 2nd round, with George winning by knockout. But George admitted he hated Norton's crab-like defense, his unorthodox style, and the way he absorbed punches. Foreman said Norton's body language, his defense, and his angles always made the fight uncomfortable, even though George got the win. Sometimes a fighter you beat still leaves a bitter taste because of the style, and Norton was exactly that man.
Number 4. Evander Holyfield. Fast forward to 1991. George Foreman, now 42 years old, returned to fight the young and hungry Evander Holyfield for the heavyweight title. Before the fight, many thought George would be knocked out, but Foreman shocked the world by going the distance. For 12 rounds, Holyfield hit George with combinations, 3, 4, 5 punches at a time. Foreman never went down, but he hated every second of Holyfield's speed and youth. After the fight, George said, "I hit him with my hardest shots," and he smiled. Holyfield was everything George hated, young, fast, and fearless. Even though George lost, he earned respect. But deep down, he admitted Holyfield frustrated him more than almost anyone he fought in his comeback. Number 5. Shannon Briggs. 1997. George Foreman was nearly 49 years old when he fought Shannon Briggs. For 12 rounds, George used his jab, landed clean power shots, and controlled the fight. Almost every boxing fan watching thought George had won. But when the judges announced a majority decision for Shannon Briggs, he was furious. He hated Briggs, not only for the fight, but for the decision. Foreman said later, "That was the only fight I felt I was robbed." That bitter loss forced him into retirement for good. He never forgave Briggs or the judges for what he felt was an injustice.
Number 6. Ron Lyle. Perhaps the most brutal war of Foreman's career came in 1976 against Ron Lyle. Both men were heavy punchers, both fearless, both willing to trade bombs. In the fight, Foreman was knocked down twice, and Lyle himself was knocked down. It was chaos, a back-and-forth war that could have ended either way.
Foreman finally knocked out Lyle in the 5th round, but he admitted afterward he hated that fight. Why? Because he was fighting himself. Lyle was a mirror, just as strong, just as powerful, just as determined. Foreman once said, "Ron Lyle was one of the few men who made me question if I'd survive."
These 6 names, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Ken Norton, Evander Holyfield, Shannon Briggs, and Ron Lyle, represent the fire and fury of George Foreman's career. They were the men who tested him, who frustrated him, and who forced him to dig deeper than ever before. But in the end, Foreman transformed that hate into respect. He retired not only as a champion, but as one of the most beloved figures in boxing. That is the journey of Big George, from hatred in the ring to peace outside of it.